Hello everyone, let me share my screen. So as of now, we are talking about uh, the files and directories. So far, we have seen how to create a file. I will walk you through the complete life cycle once again. And also, I have shown you how to manage the files. You can uh, create the file, you can save it with a particular name, and you should be placing in an appropriate folder so that you can come back to those files with ease. Now, before getting into the file extensions, I want to talk about a few aspects when you get into the file explorer. So how to get into the file explorer? If it is Mac, you have to use Finder, which is the bottom leftmost icon in the dock. So the bottom part which you see as part of the Mac is called as dock. In that you have a Finder icon. You have to click on that and it will open something similar to the file explorer what we have seen as part of the Windows. To get to the file explorer in Windows, you can actually click on this and you should be able to get into the file explorer. Now, file explorer is primarily to navigate through the folders and files so that we can get there as quickly as possible. So when you actually get into this, okay, there are different types of views. You can change these views also. So by as of now, it is showing in the form of a list view. This is called as a list view, which means the files and folders will be listed something like this. If you see yellow icon here, they are nothing but folders. When it comes to files, depending upon the type of files, you might see different type of icons, but folders are always displayed like this. So once you get here, you will be able to identify what are folders and what are files. And then here you see there is a column called as date modified in the list view. As part of the date modified, you will see the date and timestamp when it is last modified. Okay, first time it will have the created time, but after that, whenever you make changes to the files, the modified time will be updated. Also, there is type here, and you can actually see the type here. So as of now, we have only folders. That's why it is saying file folder. Also, if there are files, there will be size associated with the files also. For folders, you will not be seeing the size, or as these folders are empty, probably the size is not being displayed. Let me see. Yeah, I think most of the folders are empty. In this, there is one file. By default, I think folders, you will not be seeing the size here. Only with respect to the files, you will see the size. Let me take you to Mac, and let me also show you how it will look like in the Mac also. The reason why I'm demonstrating between Mac and Windows is once you understand a particular operating system, how to use the desktop or computer, you should be able to adapt to the others also with ease. You don't have to feel that, oh, I'm doing something new. You are almost doing the same thing, whether it is Ubuntu based desktop or Chrome notebook or Mac or Windows, the environment is similar. There seems to be a question. Let me take to the chat. Okay, Adarsh just said that he's on. That's fine. So here I'm opening my files and folders in my Mac, and then I will actually walk you through how it will look like when we have so many files and folders, and also you will understand all these features of why they are publishing name, date modified, type, size, etc. Okay, so this is from my Mac from which I am demonstrating, and here also you see I have name, size, kind, and date added. Here they are saying date added, but actually it is date modified only. Even though they say date added, it is date modified only. If I modify this, it will be updated. Because downloads by naming convention, we are supposed to use only for downloading the files, but not updating it. I think they have highlighted it as date added here. But if I go to the other folders in Mac, you see it is saying date modified. Typically, we can update the files in downloads, but the purpose of downloads folder in Mac is primarily to download the files from internet. I will explain that some of the standard folders which we see on Windows, Mac, etc. at a later point in time. Then it will start making sense. For now, I'm just showing you all the files I have in the downloads. If you don't see data added, you might be seeing date modified. Other than that, you see size, kind, etc. and also name. Now, if you click on this, the files will be sorted. Okay. So here you see I have clicked once and the files are sorted in ascending order by name. Let me mute everyone here. There are a couple of attendees. Let me make them panelists so that they can also stream the videos. Let me also ask them to start the videos. I see 2 sessions from Shlok, but that's fine. Others, I think you haven't started your webcam. If you want, you can start your webcam. As of now, I don't see it. That's fine. You can ignore for now, but from next time, you make sure that you start streaming the video. Okay. As long as you can follow the content, it is optional. You just need to be attentive. The reason why I ask kids to stream the videos is so that I can watch, and if they are getting a bit distracted, especially if I'm explaining a bit important concept, I will assert so that you can focus on the content which I'm trying to demonstrate. That's the only reason I am asking you to stream the video. Okay. So now I'm talking about the files, and you can click on this to sort the files by name. You see here, they are changing the order. So I will explain why it is sorted in a particular way at a later point in time when we get into the a bit advanced concepts. But you can see here, first you see all the numeric files. Okay, all the files are starting with numbers, but they are not sorted in the way numbers should be sorted by default. I will explain why when we get into the advanced concepts at a later point in time. But for now, what you can understand is you will see all those files which are starting with numeric characters in the beginning, like 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. See till here, all the files are starting with numeric values. Then you can see the files which are alphabetic, and files are sorted. You see AD, AE, AN, AN, AP, AS, BA, NBAS, etc. So the files are sorted in ascending order. So by using this feature, if you want to get to a file, it will be easier for you. So for example, if I want to search for getting started, okay, then it should be in G. So I can scroll up real quick and I can actually go there. And also you can select the first file. If I want to go to the getting started from here, because the files are sorted, I can start typing GET and it automatically took me to that file. Okay, so that is the purpose of providing these sorting features, and also the purpose of why you should name the files in a particular way. That way your files and folders will be organized and you should be able to go to the files with ease. And also when we get into the advanced concepts, I will talk about patterns also. If you follow particular standards, leveraging the patterns, we should be able to search for the files in the entire system very fast. Okay, and I will talk about those things at a later point in time. For now, I just want to focus how the files can be accessed in a given folder if there are too many files leveraging these features. Sometimes you might not remember the file name, but you might have a file which is very big in size, especially the video files, etc. are typically big in size. If you want to sort by size, you just click on this. Okay, and you can see that the files are sorted in descending order by default. The largest file is this Tableau desktop, and if you are looking for that file, you can um, get to that file with ease, and you should be able to use it the way you want to use. Similarly, if you want to categorize by kind, you want to see all the folders together, then all the PDF documents together, all the text files together, etc., all the PowerPoints together, etc., then you can actually sort by kind. Folders will come at top if you sort in descending order, and then you can see that the archive files, text edit files, HTML files these are actually partial download files which I should delete. I'll be deleting them soon, so and so forth. So you can actually get all the files which are of same kind together, and let's say there are these RDP files, and I want to go to this Zoom demo file. Now by sorting by kind, I can actually figure out what all files are here, and I should be able to go to that file I'm looking for with ease. Also, when it comes to adding the files or modifying the files, sometimes we might use the same file again and again. For example, diary. Let's say you have a file called as diary, and you want to update every day. And to make it easily accessible, irrespective of the name, size, etc., you can actually sort by date added or date modified, and then whatever is the latest, you should be able to pick it up. So that is the purpose of these things, and this is called as list view. There are other views also. If you are using Mac, there is something called as style view, and you can change the views here. On the top in Mac, you see these options: style view, list view, and there are few other views. Okay, if you want to navigate through the folders with ease, this view is very good in Mac. And then this one, if you want to slide through the files or images, then this fourth view is also relevant. So these are different kinds of views which you should be familiar with. Okay, so make sure you spend time in going through this if you are using Mac. Now, if you are talking about Windows, it is not as sophisticated as Mac. Mac is always ahead in time compared to Windows. For example, if I go to downloads, they don't have date added here. They have only date modified. They consider all the folders almost same. But Windows, not Windows, but Mac, depending upon the context, they give a lot more intuitive information. That's why Macs are very popular compared to Windows, even though they are a lot more expensive than Windows. Okay, Naina joined, and I made Naina also panelist. She can also start streaming the video. Let me ask her to do so. Okay, so this is how you can get in there. And in Windows, if you want to see those options of different views, you can go to the view here. You see on top there is view, and you can actually see the different views in Windows also. Okay, by default we are seeing this view called as details view. It's not list view, it is details view, but there are other views also. So let me go to a folder where we have some files so that we understand more about it. So by default it is details. If you see, it is highlighted here, right? Details is highlighted with a blue rectangle, light blue rectangle. Okay, now if I click on this, it will go to a different view. Now we only got the names of files and folders. We don't get the other information. If I go to large icons, then it will show like this. So you can actually go to view, and you can actually try these things to get the information using different options. So Mac as well as Windows have the options which are similar in nature to access the files. Okay, so the more important thing is you need to understand how to sort the files, how to get in to the files, etc. And also, as I have mentioned to you earlier, you have to be very careful as per the while naming the files, folders, etc., because these views also have search, and I will talk about search at a later point in time. I will not focus too much on it at this time. It will be too much for you, but at some point I will be talking about search as well. you can see search here also. So you can actually use patterns and all those things to actually search. So let me change to list view here, or details view, and let me get only .rdp file, or all the files which have RDP as extension. So we can actually search like this. For some reason it is not coming up, but we will be able to see the details related to search at a later point in time. Okay, so naming files in a particular format is very, very important, because we should be able to use search and we should be able to get the files as quickly as possible. Once you start understanding these concepts, you will be able to automate also. Once you get into the programming and all, you should be able to automate these things and make sure that uh, the overall system is organized a lot better as you get into as you progress in your student life, or even in professional career at a later point in time. So that is about files, how to manage the files. Now let's talk about dealing with trash. Okay, so when it comes to dealing with trash, so whenever the life cycle of the file is, typically we create the file, we modify over a period of time, and at some point or the other we might want to delete the files also. But when you delete, it will not be deleted permanently for you unless you chose to do so. You can delete permanently also directly. If you think there is a unnecessary file which can be deleted permanently directly, there is a way to do so. But if you don't explicitly say to permanently delete, it will not be deleting permanently for you. Okay, what will happen? Let me demonstrate here. I think I have a file in one of these folders. Let me see. Yeah, this is the one. Let me delete. So how to delete? You can right click the mouse and delete like this, or you can select the file and you can say delete, it will be deleted. So where this file will go? It will go to something called as recycle bin. And how to access this? You can go to the desktop and you can see the recycle bin here. Okay, and you can double click that and you can see the file here. So if you accidentally deleted this file, and if you want to move it to the original location, then you can right click on this and then say restore. Then the file will go to its original location. Okay, so let me go here and we can see the file here, storytelling. And when it comes to desktop, right, whatever you are seeing as part of the desktop. So this is the desktop. Let me close this recycle bin and let me minimize this. So this is minimize, maximize, and close. If you want to close, you have to click on this. If you want to maximize or concise it to a manageable size, you can use this option. So now it is saying maximize. Once I maximize completely, if I go here, it is saying restore down. So it will take you back to the original size. And then if you want to minimize, you can click on this to minimize this application, which is nothing but File Explorer. And whatever you are seeing as part of the desktop, right, you don't need to come to this desktop and delete from here. If you want to completely delete from recycle bin, or if you want to restore also, you don't need to come back to the desktop and do so. Let's assume that you deleted the file accidentally. Okay, let me just move this doc. Let's delete once again. So I'm maximizing this, right clicking on this and deleting this file. It have gone into the recycle bin. And if you look at this, on top of these files on left, you can see the items which you can access real quick. Whatever you frequently use, those will be shown here, like desktop, downloads, documents, etc. Whatever are there as part of the desktop, you can access from here. So you just go to the quick access and desktop and you should be able to see here. Oh, it is not showing the recycle bin. Typically, there is a way to get in there. So if you want to see the recycle bin here, it is considered as a hidden folder or file, and hence what you have to do is you can go to the view, and there is section called as hidden items here, and you can actually highlight that. Oh, I think with recycle bin they actually changed the managing it a bit differently. So as of now, on Windows, you have to go to the desktop only, and you will be able to access the recycle bin. But you can see the other stuff here, except for the recycle bin. For that, you can minimize, and you should be able to see. So you can see the Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, etc. There are 3 others. Why I'm seeing only 2? I can only see Microsoft Edge and Zoom. Here it is also showing Google Chrome. I think the information is hidden somewhere. Let me see. Let me go to the options. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry too much about it. But you should be able to see the rest of the stuff. Even if you go to the downloads, all the files which are downloaded, you should be able to see here. If you want to access uh, some of the folders real quick, you can actually create that folder as a shortcut on the desktop, and you should be able to take it further. On Mac, if you actually go to the desktop, it will show whatever is available. And the recycle bin is called as trash in Mac, and it is part of the dock. So if you go here and let's say right and bottom, 1 minute. So you see here, this is dock. I chosen the right because if I say bottom, it is going to my other window. For now, I'm just saying right. So typically it will be at this place, and this trash will come here. So the recycle bin is nothing but trash in Mac, and you should be able to click on this. And if there's anything, you should be able to restore or delete the way we have seen in the Windows. So that is about recycle bin, very important thing which you need to remember. Don't get panic if you delete the files. Just go to the trash and see if they are available and try to restore. Even if you delete permanently, there is a way to recover, but it is a very technical and advanced stuff. It is too much for the kids at this time. It is a very advanced stuff. Even I don't know. I typically don't delete files accidentally, and hence I'm okay. Even if I delete accidentally, it will be in recycle bin. I will review the recycle bin once in a while, and if there is anything that is deleted accidentally, I will restore, and then I clean up the recycle bin. Even if you do not clean up the recycle bin, there are certain preferences. Based on those preferences, the files will be permanently deleted from the recycle bin. Okay, you don't need to worry at this time about it. What are those preferences which will control the behavior of the recycle bin? So that is about dealing with trash. File extensions, we haven't covered it yet. We will get in there as we proceed further. Yeah, now it is time to cover the file extensions. I have to demonstrate using Mac because on Windows I don't have enough files, but here I have enough files. So depending upon the purpose of the file, we will have extensions. For example, if you want to have something called as PDF. PDF is very popular file format, and you might want to create PDFs also as you proceed further. For that, you have to install certain softwares. I will create a table and explain what softwares that are required for specific file extensions as we proceed further. For now, I will list all the important file extensions, and then when we get into the softwares, I will tell what are the softwares that are required to deal with a particular file extension. Except for the folders, right? So if you sort, except for the folders, all the files have extensions like .zip, .download, .rpm, .rdp, .pptx, etc. So whatever you see after the dot is called as extension. Okay, and depending upon the extension, you need to use a particular software, and unless you have that particular software, you will not be able to use those files. What are the other popular extensions? You might see .html files. Let me see if I have any HTML files here. I don't have any HTML files, but HTML files are also very popular. Also, the most popular with kids is MP4 files, which are nothing but videos, right? You might see the videos, and most of the videos are typically MP4. High quality videos might have different extension. Okay, you can actually ask your parents to show the extension of the videos or movies which they are playing as part of the personal computers, and you can get some knowledge about different extensions for the videos, but most popular one is MP4. Okay, now let's create the table here. So again, I would highly recommend you to observe whatever I am doing here, so that you are also familiar with these things. I will not be explaining this in detail. I will be just working and trying to demonstrate by documenting few important aspects, but make sure that you observe what I'm doing and try to pick up these things. Once we get into the docs and all, it will be a bit easier for you to follow. Okay. So here I want to create a table. So I'm going to insert and then saying table. I want to at least create 8 rows. I want to give a header. The header is nothing but extension. For now, I will be only documenting the extensions. Here I will be filling the softwares once I explain the concept of softwares. And I don't want these to highlight, and hence I am actually saying none. However, I want to make them bold to differentiate these with the other rows. Okay, so what are the popular extensions? .txt. I'm not going to use dot here. I'm just saying txt. Okay, and also I want to do something here. We will also have one more column. Let me add one more column here. Description. Okay. So simple text files. These are nothing but simple text files. And then other popular ones are doc, or docx. They are nothing but Word documents. And then PDF, another format of documents. They are similar to Word documents, but there are some subtle differences which you will learn as you grow. You might not be able to understand all the differences at this time, but I will emphasize some of the differences as we proceed further. And then PPT or PPTX, PowerPoint presentations. Okay, Hasni, I think for some reason you moved into the attendee list. Now I made you panelist. Okay, so PowerPoint presentations. Then we have MP4 video files. What else? What else are the important? XLS. I'll be covering this also as we get into the Microsoft Office or Google Suite. XLSX, spreadsheets. so and so forth. Like this, there are so many other extensions, but these are the most popular ones. HTML used extensively by software engineers to provide the interface in browser. Don't worry if you don't understand this explanation at this time. I will get into the details at a later point in time. So these are the popular extensions which you should be familiar with as a kid, and as you grow you will be seeing a lot more extensions, and you should also know the relationship of these extensions with the softwares. Okay, so when it comes to Windows, I don't know about current behavior. Let me, yeah, now you see the trash is on the right side. Okay, I just want to move this dock away. Now let me go into this recycle bin, and then let me restore this, and it is part of basics of computers. And if you see, I haven't added this into this quick access, but as I have gone into this basics of computers several times as part of these demos, it automatically picked into the quick access and it is providing here, which means you should be able to get all the frequently used folders and all into this automatically if you are using Windows as an operating system under quick access. Now you see, you can see the type here, but there is no extension. Is there an extension or not? For that, what you have to do is you can go to view and you have to click on file name extensions, and now you can see the .txt. Why it is very important to go and click on this file name extensions if you don't see the extensions? Unless you see this, you don't know which software should be used to open some of those files. Sometimes the softwares might not be available on your computer, and you have to see the extension and understand what software should be installed, and you should be going ahead and installing that software. Okay, that's why understanding extensions and also how to get the details about the extension and understanding the relationship with the respective softwares is very important. So if there is any issue, instead of going panic or nervous, you just try to understand the extension, try to get the appropriate software, and then install it. If you don't see the extension to the file, you check with your dad and they might be able to help you. If there are extensions, you should be able to sort these things out with ease. And it is very important to ensure that your files always have extensions. For example, now I am using both Mac and Windows, but as part of the Windows, I don't have Word installed. One of the softwares, I don't have it installed, but I have installed on my Mac. I'm able to work without any issues. I'm able to create the files with extensions. I'm able to open the files with the software that is already there in Mac. And then I copied a file into the Windows, and it will stop working because there is no corresponding software that needs to be used with that file. If there's an extension, even if I come back after 10 years, I know that, okay, this file has to be opened with certain software. If I understand the relationship between that extension and software, I can install that software, and then I should be able to use those files. So understanding the extensions, creating files with extensions, and then understanding the relationship with the softwares is very important. That being said, I have covered this file extensions also, and hence let me change the color to green so that we didn't keep it hanging. Also have covered dealing with files, dealing with the trash, and hence let me highlight it into green. Now when it comes to searching for files, I'll be using my Mac and try to demonstrate. Okay, here I'm in the downloads folder, and then if I want to get files with a particular extension, I can say like this. Then I can click that and then hit enter. Typically it should come. I did not. Okay, I think the patterns is not working. Let me see. Let me search for getting started. Now you see, it is actually showing all the files and folders which have getting started in them. You can see here. Okay, there are others also. It is actually um, having this as part of the path. That's why it is showing even other files. So as part of the getting started folder, I have some of these files. Because that getting started is part of the path, it is actually showing all those details also. There should be a way to customize this, or we have to use something called as patterns, which is a bit advanced in nature, and hence I'm not going to cover at this time. But you can always go to the search bar and start searching for the files here. Even on Windows, you can do the same thing. So if I go to the Windows also, you have the search, and you can actually search for different files. Let me create a copy of this file. Okay, and now I can say copy, and it is showing that one file which have copy in it. The other file is skipped. This is how you should be able to search for files with particular pattern if you want to get to the files real quick. So I'm covering only the basic search features here, but as we mature, I will be covering a lot more in details. Okay, this is also covered for now. And then recents, when it comes to Windows, I have already shown you the quick access, very powerful depending upon the frequently used folders or files. You will see those things here. More than files, it will actually show the folders and apps, applications which you frequently use. In Mac, let me go to the Finder. Okay, and if you want to go to the recent stuff, you can always say go here, and you can actually click on recents, and you should be able to see the recents here. And recents is also part of favorites, and you should be able to see all the recent files that are being used by clicking on this. Okay, so again, very powerful. You will know what all files you have used recently, and you should be able to navigate to those files. So for example, your diary or some other thing which is used every day or every week will automatically reflect in recents. You can go to the recents, and you should be able to find those recents. Okay, now I will reiterate the directories. I have covered directories in the past, but I will reiterate once again. Directories are nothing but a group of files, and you need to ensure that the directories are created first before creating your first file. And you have to organize all the files in multiple levels of directories. Just creating one directory is not good enough. For example, let's say you want to create one folder for your academic year. Okay, in that, again, you have to categorize. There might be science projects, there might be environment related projects, there might be math related projects, right? So you can create subfolders such as science, math, environment, etc. And then you should be able to get all the projects into that. On top of projects, you might have something also. So you might want to do something like this. I'm getting in there and then going to documents. As part of education year or academic year 2019-20, there can be projects, there can be pictures of your school which you want to manage. So you can create a folder called as pictures here if you want to manage as part of this itself. And then as part of the projects, you can create a folder for your science projects, math projects. And again, as part of the science projects, sometimes we might have a big project where there has to be 4 or 5 files included. Those 4 or 5 files can be created as part of a folder on a project name. So you can create a folder like this, new folder. Let's say anatomy. There is a project on anatomy. You can start creating files related to that anatomy project in this. Typically, this folder should be named after the project name itself. Whatever is the project name, you have to just name it using that name, and you should be able to create all the files related to that project. Sometimes we might have to have only one file for your project. In that case, you just create the file with that name with whatever extension is required. If you want to submit the project in the form of a Word document, then you have to create a docx file, and as part of that you should be able to create all the content, and you can take the printout or share it with your teacher. So this is how it look like. In the documents, I have a folder for educational year or academic year. In that, for projects, I have created a subfolder. In that, I have created subfolders for math projects and science projects. In that, based upon the project name, I created a folder. In that, you might want to have multiple images, and using those multiple images, you might want to create a Word document. You can have all those images, Word documents, etc. in this, and then you can submit the entire folder as a project. Okay, so that is about directories. I have already covered this different views of files in a directory. I have covered sorting files within a directory also. I have covered organizing files and directories as well. Okay, so that being said, so far we have covered this topic. We'll call for the day, and we'll talk about softwares and then relationship between files and softwares, as well as hardware components. So once we understand the softwares, then we'll actually get into the hardware components also. Probably as part of the next session, we should be able to wrap this up, and then we will get into ability to use Windows as well as Mac laptops. I will talk about how to understand your computer better. You will learn about stuff like memory, CPU, hard drive. Again, I will highlight the desktop at the time, and also some of the important folders which you will be using. Then there is something called as task manager, and also I will be talking about installing and uninstalling softwares, and also I will be talking about control panel. This probably I will be covering as part of the next week classes. On Saturday classes, I will be covering these 3 things: softwares, relationship between files and softwares, which means we'll be updating this with appropriate softwares, and then we will actually talk about hardware components. I will explain in detail how to understand the term hardware and also the components as part of the hardware. That being said, if you have any questions on the content covered so far, we can take those questions, or I can take those questions and respond. Otherwise, we will wrap up for the day. I will talk with Hiran probably sometime soon to work with him where he stands personally, and then I will let him know what all classes should he join. Okay, any questions? So now homework. On top of the typing, right? So you have to at least have you have to at least spend 3 half-an-hour sessions, and then you have to practice typing, and you have to send me the progress by Friday night. You have to ask your parent to send the progress by Friday night about the progress that is made with respect to the typing. Even Alexandra, even though you are already familiar with it, I would highly recommend to continue practicing so that you get better at it, and you will get a lot more time in future if you start typing and improve your speed. Okay, so show me the progress. Both pace and also accuracy matters, so make sure you highlight both. I will come to you in a moment, Hasni. I will let you talk. Okay, so that is one part of it. Now everyone try to create the folders for the upcoming academic year and start organizing your stuff. That is another small homework which I'm going to give as part of this session. Make sure you start organizing the folders in such a way that for the current academic year and also probably for the next academic year, you already have the folders, and make sure all the projects which you have done using computer, if there are any, are copied into those folders. And the reason why you have to do that exercise is, as of now, the files might be scattered across the computer, right? You will feel the pain getting those files and organizing into this folder. But in future, if you have to share all the work you have done in a given academic year because they are organized, you will appreciate the level of productivity that is improved. Okay, so the exercise is, make sure you create the folder for the current academic year. Try to get all the projects organized into that folder. Make sure you organize the way I have demonstrated here, where you have subfolders, and then copy the files into the appropriate subfolders. As you are still young, you might not have too many projects, but as you proceed further, you will be. On top of projects and pictures, there might be another important folder which you might have to consider, which is nothing but resources. So there might be material online which might be relevant for your studies. You start documenting those things also using that resources folder. On top of projects, pictures, resources is another important folder which you can keep track for while you progress. The advantage is, if you have a small little brother or little sister, you should be able to share that folder with them, and they will know what they can expect for that given year, and they can excel in their academics. You can also share with your cousins, friends, etc. So there are so many advantages with that. So make sure you start organizing your stuff as you grow.